We'll go over this week be'ez Hashem Yisburach Hilchos Kashen, Kashen Kailem, Kashen in the kitchen, Kashen in the house. Next week be'ez Hashem Yisburach we'll go for Erev Pesach Shechal b'Shabbos, the halakhos how to deal with the Shabbos, with the what I can put him now. It's still, we want to go over. It's although it's probably you heard it last year and it's probably you learned it, but this darf man constantly begin because Kashen Kailem is wichtige Sache. It's the guy all year round too. When you have a shaila, you have a problem, something become treifa, v'chulu. Is the Torah Simetov Chav Ches writes that we see in the Torah, there's two places in the Torah which the Torah writes regarding kasher. One is Parshas Metzora, and one is Parshas Tzav. Zug the Torah, why? Because always Pesach, Parshas Tzav and Parshas Metzora always falls before Pesach. If it's not a Iber Yur, a regular year is Parshas Tzav. No, Parshas Tzav and Parshas Metzora. Over there's a halacha of Parshas Metzora, they got Klachet Yishover, because in a leap year it is Parshas Metzora, and in a regular year it is Parshas Tzav. Let's give a close the gezach on Hagala. The klal in Hilchos Hagala is Kabbalah kach boltoi. The way how he absorbed the Isser, that way he gives it out the Isser. That means if a thing got absorbed through fire, for instance, a pan which you put in the oven. So how did the blia go into the pan? Through fire, direct fire, or you roasting in the oven, whatever you do, grilling, all these things, the blia which you do from the food goes into the metal, or whatever it is, klecheres, goes in through fire. In order to take it out, you have to have fire to take it out. You cannot pour water, you have to have fire because fire is much hotter than water. So therefore, since it got absorbed with fire, you have to take it out with fire. If it was absorbed by a klirishin, that means there was already water, but it was a klirishin. Klirishin means alu aish, was on the hot, on the fire, a pot on the fire. So therefore, it's very hot. So in order to take out the blia from the pot, has to be with a klirishin. Cannot be lower than klirishin. Has to be klirishin. You don't have to have fire mamish, but you have to have klirishin. If it got absorbed by iri klirishin, not by being on the fire and absorbing the iser, only by iryu. That means you have, for instance, a chometz which was poured on a keli, a hot chometz which was poured on a keli. So basically, it got only through pouring. Over there, it's a lower darge, because why? Why is iri a lower darge? Because you don't have the walls which keeps it hot. Klirishin has the walls which is hot. Iri, when you pour, automatically the water goes through the air. So automatically it cools off a little bit. So therefore, iri klirishin, you could cash it also through ili klirishin. Kemivin, if you want to do it with klirishin of adagit, but you don't need a klirishin, it's enough iri klirishin. If it went with a klisheni, it got absorbed by klisheni. For instance, it was on the fire. You take hot soup with a kneidel and you put it into a what is it called? A plate. So over here, there is already klisheni. It's not klirishin. The walls is not hot. The plate is a cold plate. You're putting it in a chometz in it or a cereal, whatever it should be. A chometz to give food, you should put it in a keli. So now the chometz got absorbed with klisheni. You could cash it with klisheni. If it got absorbed only by cold, which doesn't get absorbed basically, you don't have to cash it at all. You just rinse it with water, and that's fine. For instance, you have a glass which was never used only with cold, so basically you don't have to cash it. Automatically, once you wash it off, it's perfectly fine, and that's fine. If it was, there's another thing how it got absorbed. It's got absorbed by staying in the clay, kuvush 24 hours. You have, for instance, in a keli, it was over there chometz for 24 hours. So now kuvush kumavishel. So now it got absorbed in the keli. You have to have a klirishin because kovash it is azoivi. It got absorbed with a klirishin, and therefore has to be taken out by klirishin. That's the klal. Whenever you want to kasher a thing, you have to see how it got absorbed.
That's pickling?
Pickling.
No, I'm saying that kovash.
No, kovash means no. What is it? It's like pickling, but not dafke. Doesn't have to be vinegar. It doesn't have to be salty also. Kovash means any liquid, a chomotz, even it's not plain water. If you have water and inside was chomotz, a bilka, a piece of bread, and it stays in the keli for 24 hours, automatically the chumah goes into the keli. It's not pickled, it's not sour, it's not salted. Water absorbed, but that has to be 24 hours. Always has to be 24. In order to become osir, has to be 24 hours. So therefore, only in such a case it becomes osir.
And you kasher it through.
You kasher it through klirishin. Since kuvash rayike mevushel, it is as if it was cooked. Cooked is klirishin. So again, so that's always the klal. Now, today's day, usually, we are always going to kasher a klirishin, even a klisheni, because you never know, it happens, could be the spoon, yeah? You mix a pot with it, or even a plate. Some people will take a plate and cover it, except of a cover of a cover of the pot. So therefore, the minig is that when kasher only with klirishin, but you don't have to kasher klirishin if it wasn't absorbed with klirishin. A thing which was kashered absorbed with fire cannot come out with klirishin. A thing which went in with klirishin and you have to make hagala, you could make libn. Because libn is a higher level. So therefore you make libn. You don't have to make the heavy libn, you can make libn kal. There's a libn kal in which you get to it in a minute. So you can make libn kal, but you can do libn. Why? Because since libn is a higher level of hagala, so therefore it's fine. A klicheres, anything which is cheres, cannot be kasher. That means any kli which is porcelain, you cannot kasher. The same will go also to mugs. Mugs is considered klicheres. Once it gets treif, once it gets chomesdik, you cannot kasher it for pesach or for kashrus. Okay.
Libun kal is always better than a column?
The what?
Libun kal is always better than a column?
It's the same. Yeah. So we get now to libn.
Glass is the same gadam?
Of what? Glass is a machloikes if it could be kashered or it doesn't need to be kashered. The Remu says glass cannot be kashered. The Remu in Pesach cannot be kashered. The Mechaber says glass do not need to be kashered because it's shua. It's what is it? It doesn't absorb what?
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't absorb. But the Remu says not only it does absorb, also you have to kasher it. It doesn't help kashering. That's Pesach. When it comes to all year round, is the Shpetig Achronim have discuss if this is only a Pesach issue or all year round. Hal the Remu och masking to the Mechaber that you don't need to kasher it. But again, we are more lenient when it comes to such a things. So B'mayla, that's for a whole year round. But like when a Pesach, we go glass cannot be kashed. It's going to be in the guy a little bit later. Glass cannot be kashed. Why glass? Because glass came toch from the aduma. So there's the question if it goes in the gather of klecheres or not. Now there's two things which is called libn chomer and libn kal. Libn chomer means a thing which is absorbed with fire, as I mentioned before, a pan or a grill or all these things needs libn chomer. What does it mean libn chomer? Steigt nicht genorach at shehai nitzoitzen nitzen. That means you make it so hot that you're going to see sparks coming out. Now, we are not going to see such things, by the way. Let me make it clear. And even the other thing which the Achronim say, that it means it becomes red, it depends, not necessarily all the metal, depends which metal. There are different metals. Some metal will turn red. Some metal, even if you can have it in fire on 1,000 degrees, is not going to become hot. Some say when you close the light, you're going to see some reddish. So Lamasa, this is not a thing which we could deal, but it goes with degrees. And the thing is, Libn Gomer is about 900 degrees. When it comes 900 degrees, that's Libn Gomer. Less than that, it's not Libn Gomer. Then there's such thing as Libn Kal. Libn Kal means It is a lower level of libel. In the Shulchan Aruch shtayt, how do we see, what does it mean? It means when you put in inside with the fire, outside will be Yad Solder's boy. That's the way Yad Solder's boy, outside. The Alter Rebbe writes that the Master, the minig, is, Alter Rebbe brings it down in Tufni and Aleph, which this is the halachas of Hagala. That's the minig how he's mamachbel lekitchila. It's a little bit more hotter, that when you put kash, if you take a piece of straw, you put it outside, or in our language, you take a tissue, or you take a newspaper paper, the paper of a newspaper, you put it outside, it's going to, so to speak, shrink. That's this. What is it in degrees? Usually we say degrees is about 550. That's lim kal. Now again, what could you use lim kal? What could you use lim chumar? A regular thing, chumar which got absorbed through fire, needs to have lim gumar. So it has to have 900 degrees minimum. It should come out of chumar. Which, when we're going to get a little bit later to stoves, the ovens, the self-cleaning ovens goes that high. Regular ovens do not go that high. Self-cleaning ovens go that high.
So degrees. The actual minute to be that much degrees.
That's hot. The oven gets that hot.
We said about Libun Kal 550 degrees.
What?
So if Libun Kal 550 degrees.
Yeah.
Means if less than 550 degrees.
Hast du gemacht kalim? Hast du gemacht kalim?
But yeah, it's much less, no?
No, it's not all this way over there. The outside has to be when you put in the oven and you push outside, and the outside should become Yatzolder's boy. Dafür 100 degrees. But
where's it be 550 degrees?
Inside. The heat over there, the heat in the oven will be about 550 degrees.
So we're doing the blowtorch.
Blowtorch is a lim. You could blowtorch could be lim gummer too. Yeah. Yeah, it depends. The kleine with the gross. Again, another thing which I mentioned before, anything which needs Hagala and you did Libn Kal, it's good, because Libn Kal is a higher level than Hagala. So sometimes it's much easier to do Hagala practical, and if you have a blowtorch, you take the blowtorch and you do Libn Kal, so that's Avad and Avad Git. Now, Hagala has to be only in water. Akapunim Kitchila Zicher, but the Evet, Shar Mashkem, Mamaikazan, but Akapunim Kitchila has to be with water. You cannot make Hagala with any other thing which is not water. So therefore now, just Bamamara Mizger. Over here comes in the question, if you know, there's a lot of read, if anybody knows a little bit in the Kashas, about chocolate. Chocolate is part of a chocolate and it's milk chocolate. Now, if you have the same line, part of a chocolate, milk, there's a bit problem. Because how do you make it from after having milk? How you kasher it should become parava. So they only can kasher it with chocolate. They cannot kasher with water. It kills you don't kasher chocolate, you don't kasher with water. Now the Aidachraidis, and also Rabbi Weissman told me, he gives an Alparos. He has also parava and milchiks, and he has separate lines. Separate lines, which is a parava is only always parava, and milchik is always milchik. The Eidachreis had this, some companies have it, some companies do kasher with, now again, Be'evid, Alter Rebbe said Be'evid, there's a philosophy of them. But I can't Mishla Ketchila. So therefore, when it comes to chocolate, this is one of the things which
They heat it up with chocolate.
they heat it with chocolate. Yeah, they put in chocolate, heat it up very hot, there's agala, and then they throw away that batch, or whatever, and then that's the way how there's the kasher. Again, the big this is how it is done, yeah. Hershey's, yeah, which has a OU. Yeah, has parava and has a OUD. The parava is kashed only that way. Okay. Another thing is kedai to know, there are trace day machines which is very hot and very powerful, which is steaming. It's very good for cleaning. Very good for cleaning, but it's not good for kasher. You cannot kasher something with the steam machines. Kitter is good for cleaning, it's not good for kasher. The final thing which I want to say, klulisig gesagt, steht in the poskim mikra din, you don't need it, but steht in the poskim that the minig is you have a separate kashering top. And that's why Baruch Hashem, the schise yoma for their mitzvah, they sell a special set with a kashering pot, with a stone which is in the case of machaya. It made it so easy. I used to kasher before it came out. Used to find the brick and have to have a hanger. The metal hangers make a whole patent. Now you have this. You buy the whole set. Gewaldig, mamish gewaldig.
So
Mikra din, you don't need it.
What's the whole thing about the
The brick, we're going to see. Sometimes you're going to need even malibn. We're going to see. So then, that makes it very easy to how to deal with it. Okay.
You're not
So,
using kashering pots. You want to use your chametz ones or your pesach ones? The kasher. I would say even the chumetz, you could use the chumetz if you want, as long as it is eine mayoyma. As long as a pot which is eine mayoyma. I should use.
What?
Either one, whatever you want.
Yeah, and kasher, the Pesach thing I would had reservations. Chisam if you kasher it afterwards again.
If I'm putting a cover on the counter,
We're gonna get to all this. We're gonna get to this.
It's better separate.
Separate keiler. Also ich steigt nicht in the Poskim. Like Triller, you should have like a Triller. Aber it's nicht mikra din. If somebody doesn't have it, you can use this percolator. But I just wanted to man it. Okay. So now let's go over Kailam. Then we're going to go over the kitchen, how to deal with that, and all your questions, I assume, will be addressed. The first thing is we have to know is that you don't use a keilah for 24 hours before you kasher it. You don't kasher a ben yoyma. The reason is why, because if you kasher a ben yoyma, the water comes out in the pot, and if you don't have shishim, the whole water becomes aser. It goes back into the pot. The pot is not kasher. So therefore, if you have shishim, you could kasher even ben yoyma. But since we don't want to make cheshbon, we do have shishim, so it's a klal. That's what Alter Rebbe brings it down. Kedai, we shouldn't know, make cheshbonis. We do have shishim, not always we have shishim. So therefore, you always make sure you kasher einem yoyma. That's the klal. You use the what? Bagola. We're going to Bagola. Yeah. You always have to have einem yoyma before you kasher it. Before you kasher it, you have to make sure you take off all the dirt. Anything which is in the pot has to be cleaned. Now, sometimes you have this color from the metal. That's not means that you have something, it's clean. Sometimes you have, it's not mamoshas. It's discolored, that's fine. It's not a problem. But anything mamoshas, you have to take off. And only like this you can make a gala. If you can't take it off, sometimes you can't, or you have grooves, you have to take a blowtorch or with fire burn out that piece. You should do it first, that piece, then you kasher it. But if you kasher it without doing that piece, you should do it afterwards. That piece is not kasher, so therefore you have to do it afterwards. Also with a libn, that piece, that grooves, or whatever is such a thing which you cannot, that you should make with libn. You have to make sure, very important halacha, you have to make sure that the water is mala resicha. It's not enough, it's yatzal this boy. It's not enough, it's very hot. It has to be mala resicha. Mala resicha means has to bubble, has to be bubbling. Bederech klal, what is mala resicha? Is about 212 degrees. That's mala resicha. Now, I want to make it clear, it's not a cross the board. Because it depends where you are. It depends on the sea level. Sometimes it will be mala resicha when it's 205. Sometimes even 202, 203. Sometimes it will need even more than 202, even 250. But that's the klal that it has to be 212. And that's kasher. Alter Rebbe says not only that, no, sometimes when you kasher kailam in and out, after 1 or 2 times you're going to dip a keilah in the water, you're going to stop bubbling. So the Alter Rebbe, stop. Cover it, let it boil again, and then go on and build bubble. That means mal resicha is a very important thing. It should be. What?
Just leave it on the fire.
Leave it on the fire. Leave it on the fire. Okay, so again we said it has to be mala babiyas, and therefore once it stops boiling, you should cover it and let it boil again. Another thing that's very important, your wife just finished washing the dishes which you want to kasher in cold water, because again, you don't use 24 for hot. You have to make sure it's dry, because if it's not dry, it's going to cool off the water. So automatisch, it loses the hotness. Another thing is very important, sometimes you want to kasher a lot of utensils together. So the Alter Rebbe, you cannot touch. You cannot touch each other. Because we want that the hot water should take around every place and it should slap out over there the blias. So if you do use the, also ner mitzvah made the basket, you have to push it chocolate and it shouldn't be overflowed, that it should be come to a stage that the water should go all over. Because the water has to go all over. So therefore, when you kasher a keli, if it's a big keli and it doesn't fit into a pot, you have to make half and you make then the second half. You have to every part of the utensil of the pot has to be going into the hot water. Now it's not like a mikveh which has to be dipped b'basachas. But Hagala doesn't like that. Guli can make half and half. But sometimes you have a pot which you can make a third, and the other side a third, and then you have a middle which you cannot do. So therefore, as with the Alter Rebbe, you have to do libn. But there's another Eitzah also. What is the other Eitzah? We have a big pot, and that's a practical Eitzah. You put the pot, you take a pot which fill it up with water all the way, and you make the water should overflow. Not necessarily will overflow correct. So therefore, like Tchila, you have a hammer or a stone, anything you boil it. The hammer which is hot, or anything metal or a stone which make it hot. Once the water bubbles and it's full, you throw in the metal or whatever you have, you throw it into the pot, it will overflow nicely, then the top is kasher. So if you have a blowtorch, you want to make the middle, that's fine. If you don't have a blowtorch, that's the way how to kasher a big tap.
Even now there's also the handles.
The what?
Everything.
It's gonna so the handles you're gonna pour. Yeah.
What does that metal thing do? Like
because we want it should overflow. How do you make it overflow? If you put it, you throw in a cold metal, it's a scald. The water. So therefore, you have to have something which is still hot, which will not cool off the water, or stop bubbling, because you throw in a utensil which is cold, will stop boiling, and so therefore.
Let's say when I cash in the kitchen, they say to go like this, and you pour the water over.
Yeah.
What does that help?
Oh, we were gonna get to that. We are not getting yet by the kitchen. We are not by the kitchen. We are now yet still by the utensils. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get soon. Okay. Also, like you mentioned, like David mentioned, the handles has to be kasher too. Handle has to be, and therefore you have to make sure it's clean between the handles and the pot, because everything has to be kasher. Right? What? Yeah. So that's why I want it should overflow.
Yeah, but it's gonna reach.
That's why you throw in something. That's why if you just put it on the highest level and it will overflow because the bubbles, that will not go all over. But if you throw in something, automatically all the water will overflow and it would go all the way on the side. What? The bubbling? Fire. It's on the fire. It's al-wash mamash.
In other words, what he's saying is that if you does spill over, if you look at the side of the pot, it goes down. But if you ever see how things go down, it doesn't mamish.
If you throw in something, you're gonna see it overflows all over. You're not going to be able to light your stove again. The what?
Then you're going to have a problem lighting your oven again. It's all going to get, the whole thing's going to get soaked.
You're going to try it off.
You might ruin it.
You might ruin it. You won't ruin it. A stove, you won't ruin hot water. No, you won't. I cash it more than once the stoves. We're going to see you have to cash the stoves. You're going to see soon. Okay, the next thing is, right after you cash it, anything which you cash it, a keli or a ring which you have to cash it too, that's the minimum, you cash it, the wife's ring, you clean it and you cash it because it's constantly having connection with chometz, and you don't want the same ring she should wear a pesach. So you clean it, you dip it, always after any keli, you have to wash it over with cold water. You never did it? Oh, I have Pesach rings? Oh, okay, that's nice. Diamond? Okay, Kings is a Gvirische Stut, so over there you can afford to have a diamond ring for Pesach, a diamond ring for okay. I come from Monsi, it's not such a Gvirische Stut, so therefore over there it's not the minik. Ich weiß nicht, wenn der guy see viel, but the guy is just the man. If there's a chashash in the keli that you have a mashi chumetz and you cannot clean it, you cannot kasher it. I'm bringing it up because, but the Chassidim, almost everybody gets married, at least in my time. I don't know, today's day, it's different, the culture changed time. But in my time, every young couple got married with a silver wine holder. Every couple. So you put in the bottle of water in the silver wine, so you have a little bit of anflash. So over there, some people have a minik that when after the fish they eat, they drink wine or mashke with challah, because it has to be Stiefe in Sidavzan. Yeah. So therefore, they think on a piece of challah, then they eat it. So B'mayla is this mamash gewaldig. When then they finish the cup, end of the seder, they still wine. Why should they throw it away? They put it back inside. So what happens? A brekele goes inside, and you never know if it didn't get connected. Tzigiklebt to one. So kestem shazach kasher. So therefore, these kind of things, Menschen haben sich nicht. These kind of things cannot be kasher for Pesach, because you never know if there's a be'en geblieben somewhere connected with afilamashi. Therefore, such thing cannot be kasher. Okay, so now let's go. Even with hot water, because you never know if there's a be'en. Hot water takes out only bli, it's not be'en. And you are always afraid that maybe you cannot clean it normally because it's you know how to. Yeah, okay. So now let's go of kashering the kitchen, which this is probably most important. But this, whatever Joe said, is nagai all year round. People this year had a couple of times. People called me. They had a problem with a pan. Or they have a problem with a utensils. They have a problem. This is how you kasher things. It comes. Usually, you have the problem with a knife, with utensils. So always I say, if anybody has a corn or peas, cans, a can or pickles, save one soft shell. Can, that would be a kashering pot. And then you can always kasher a knife, a spoon, anything which you find. A pot you cannot kasher in that, but that's always a practical. You know, they say that English Rabbunim have also good eitzes. So I'm just giving you one of the eitzah. I'm Hungarian. So therefore, put away one of the cans, such a cans, and whenever you have a shayla of a knife or a spoon, don't wait till Erev Pesach because you're going to get mixed up. Just wait 24 hours and kasher it, and then you're good to go.
Why can't you kasher in a regular pot?
You could.
Oh.
You could, but it's not practical. You know, you have one knife to kasher. You know.
What's sticking in the ground?
No, that's be'en. That's only be'en. The shimon. You ever prayed that once upon a time they couldn't clean regularly a knife. A knife which you cut meat had fat on it. So in order to clean it, you have to put it in hard soil. Today we had what is it called? Steel wool. You have no issue with that. And bli, it doesn't take out bli. It takes out only the be'en. So it's not the guy for us. Okay. So now let's go through the house. How to kasher, what do you need to do? The first thing is...
The yad is plastic.
Yes.
And the other is metal. How do you kasher?
You kasher just the metal. You don't need just the metal. Yeah. Okay, so again, let's start with the dining room. The what? No, we don't kasher these things for Pesach. I mean, you're talking about you got treifa. You know, you sliced a onion, a milk, you know, and you say, the regular kashers, onions, you know, which makes problems. The dining room table does not need to be kashered. Usually we use it only when it's covered. That's the dining room table you only do in Shabbos. In Shabbos, I assume that everybody has a tablecloth on the...
If we don't use it, always covered?
If you don't have the cord, a Pesach you can do it covered?
Yeah.
Only covered. That will also be fine. Yeah, so a dining room table does not need to be kashered. A dining room table, if you kasher, you might ruin it, by the way. But again, you don't need to be kasher. You cover it. Also, you can cover it with some hard thing. You know, today's day we have this irrigated plastic. What is it called? Plastics. And over there, a tablecloth, and Allah is mechaya. When it comes to the table, a diner table or countertops, yeah. Now it depends if you have a marble counter or a marble table. Today's day goes together, if you know. We have a marble kitchen. The diner table is from the same marble. That's, 2025. So if you have such a thing which is marble or granite, so therefore you clean it well, and then you kasher it with a stone. Why you kasher with a stone? Now, he asked before, why you need to have a stone? The halacha is that kabbalah kachpolta, as we mentioned, the way it went in, the way it went out. Spilling water on the table is a iri, correct? Is a iri. Now, if the table got a blia not through iri, through klirish and mamash. For instance, you had a pizza, and the end of the pizza, you had it in a plate, but the end of the pizza is on the table. You had a toast, taking out toast from a toaster, which is hot, you're putting it on the table. Is the peish bekiman ablia nicht alidai iri, no mamash ablia mamash. Not only a bli mamash, the tzemach tzedek in one place will suchen kein sein, aber das kann ich sagen, darf man nach dem Leben. Jetzt haben wir es sich ungenehmen, aber a kapunam, weil sie sagen, der tzemach tzedek ist nicht klar, aber warf das ran, because will suchen kili, come out from a toaster, right on the table, without water, aber a kapunam, at least it's clearish. So now you're going to take hot water and pour it on the table. How you kasher it? It's iri. You don't have clearish. And we said iri is a lower level than clearish. Why? Because clearish you have the walls of the pot. Now you don't have the walls, you have the air. So when you have a metal or a stone which is hot, very hot, so what do? When you pour the water on the metal and the metal is on top of the table, so therefore it doesn't let cooler off because it's iri. It is as if a clearish. That's agala. Now, practically on a table or on a counter, there's another way how to do it. And again, 1 second. Since ner mitzvah is much easier, but it's still you have to go through the whole table. Everywhere, the water which goes on the table should be connected with the stone. Other people do other thing is you take iron, you put on the iron, it should become piping hot, then you unplug it. Don't let it plugged in. You unplug it, and once you pour the water, you go through with a what? What?
You don't need to unplug it.
It's dangerous, push it. Okay. Okay. Then I'm taking it back. Do whatever. It's not haluchadik. It's not. I didn't say you should unplug it with hadalucha. So practically, you should ask the mimcha. Akapunam. You take then the iron. You go through the table. Hosti yes gemach. As is a libim gimbu gumen, and that's why you need the iron. That's why you need a stone. That's why you need a malibim. Always a shechnuk will see a malibim because I don't want it to be iri. I want it to be mamash, klirish mamash, and that's the way how to kasher it.
Is the stone boilea?
What?
Is the stone boilea? Is it like klicheres?
No, it's klieven. It's like a klieven. No.
You put hot pot that was on the thing right on the counter. That's the same thing.
If it's dirty, if it's not dirty, it's if you have a clean pot which has inside chometz, it's dry, and you put it on the table, nothing goes through. There's a klal from a keli to another keli. That means from a keli to the table. Without roitiv, it doesn't. There's nothing. So that's not the problem. Problem is only we have spills a noodle, a hot noodle from the soup falls on the table. Or it's not only that, it's even duvagish, a piece of kugel. Kugel is called the duvagush. It falls on the table. It's clearish. Although it is rice, it keeps the. So therefore, we need to have even malim.
You pour the water on the stone.
You pour the water on the stone, and you go because I want all the water which goes on the table should go through the stone.
Comes off the stone and it's boiling.
Boiling up, exactly.
Why can't you just cover the table?
That we get to that. So in such a case, based on Me'ikir Adin, if you did it properly, you can use your counter as it is without covering it at all. Some people, a lot of people will be machbar even after kashing to covering once, but Me'ikir Adin you don't need. What?
One is when you're pouring it over the stone, you have this much space underneath. So you're having a little bit of...
No. Well, b'shaz, when the Wasser touches the table, it still connects. It's not nifsek you're right. But b'shaz, when you pour it, you're pouring it on the water is connected to the stone and the table. The water doesn't let it cool off. Now, if nifsek you're right. What? You're pouring
the water from the pot.
No.
The water's connected to the pot.
It's aber sie geht durch the lift. Aber ich will es sagen connected to the even when it comes to the table, it should still have a Shem clarition because the stone doesn't let it go.
If you pour the pot really close, you don't need the stone then.
If you what?
If you're pouring the pot really close to the counter, you don't need the stone.
Why not?
Because it's still connected.
No. Nein, ich will aber beschaß, wenn the stone goes on the table, soll ich oben was sagen, soll es lassen brennen.
I'm just saying it's not
The
exactly
stone
on
has to be on the table.
Or it doesn't mean anti-mamash because you might burn the table, but a drop higher. But the water should be together. So therefore, other people use the iron, which is practically iron. You go through. It's way much easier. You go through the whole thing very.
You put the water on first and then the iron.
You put on the water and then you go through the iron right away. Yeah.
What about from Baita?
When it comes to Famaika, this is the next step. When it comes to Famaika, let's go Famaika.
Before, one last question about the counter. some of the counters, like, it's curved. So I'm not able to really get the stone. The water goes there, but I can't push the stone all the way up against it because it's like bent a little bit, or like like inside your sink.
Why not? Why?
Not like the sink.
Oh no.
So because the stone is flat and this is.
Yeah, but when you held the stone in the sink by the curve over there, you throw the water will touch the stone. When it comes to the iron, will be practical. Right. But table is an iron practical. When it comes to a sink, is a stone practical. Because over there, whatever you pour, it doesn't have to be. I want that the stone should be right next to the place where you want to cash it, and the water should go through the stone. And that can be even when it's a curve. It's not a problem. By sink, by the way, we'll get to a sink in a minute. So we'll get to it in a minute. But again, we have to go to Kala.
Fake granite is the same as formica?
What does it mean fake?
I don't know.
Wood. Formica like chipped wood that's
No. The fake granite is like... it's not real
quartz?
Stone. Quartz, yeah.
Let me tell you like this. It's ungenehmen as you could kasher quartz. Also ungenehmen. Ich kann es hören. I spoke with the guy who makes marble, and of them. He wanted to say that it's with glue, it's made together with glue, so therefore my chetaisa. Ich habe got Gervers gesucht, and therefore when it came to quartz, I said usually even you cash it, cover it at least once. But other Rabbanim say that quartz goes into the same category. It's from stone, even if it has But again, when it comes to quartz, it's kedai to cover it at least once. It's kedai to cover it at least once.
Synthetic granite, I guess.
What?
Like synthetic granite, I guess that's.
It's not just that it's stone, but it's crushed stone,
okay.
And they glue together. When you have a counter, which is formica. Now, formica is in the gather of what is it called? Plastic. Now, it's a plastic. Formica is plastic, basically. Now, for plastic, we have a big machloikas. If you could kasher it or you cannot kasher it. So the askumas, the minig oil, we don't kasher plastic. That's when you have a plastic cup which became treife, you don't kasher, you throw it away. You don't kasher it. You can't kasher it. So what is the solution? The solution is, or you kasher it with even malim, and you kasher it, and then you cover it at least with once, because at least some of the chapasmas can help them. It's not when you cover it, it's all fine. But, or the best thing is, I don't want to say the best, you cover it twice with silver foil or whatever, twice, then you don't have to kasher it at all, because it's covered. Why do I need twice? Because I don't want that it should go water. You have a hole and water guys underneath, then you have a problem, a serious problem. So therefore, we have you have two pieces of silver foil or something which is two layers. Or today's day is the corrugated plastic, which a line has already two shelves. Such a things is, but sometimes I get covered. It has to be covered all over. In such a case, basically, if it's covered twice, there's no problem. B'chlal, you don't have to.
You have to do a gullah.
You don't have to make a gula at all. Yeah. So Mamaila,
the sides of the counter.
Everything has to be covered. It has covered. In such case, you have to use silver foil, because in the side corrugated plastic you cannot put it over there. Again, you have to make it. But again, if you kasher it and you cover it once, or you don't cover it twice, this is the way how to deal with these kind of things when it comes to Pesach. Now, when it comes to the sink, you mentioned before the sink. What?
Counter that it's used this type of format, whatever.
Yeah.
So it has chametz, not like binyonim.
Ben hat das nicht. You have to clean it.
No, but not the ben. The
Blie. So you cover it double. So what was the problem? What's the problem?
You can't get enough from something that's chametz.
You can't
get enough from chametz. That's what he's
why do we have enough in the chametz?
Because this counter has chametz absorbed.
So normal, habe ich auch nur davon? Ich habe nur in the chametz, ich habe nur in the counter.
You're not going to use a pot. I don't know.
Because you have blias.
So this has blias.
Yeah, but if you cover it twice, I don't have the blias. It doesn't go through. You cover it. It from the.
It's not talking about kashrus. It's not from a hana standpoint.
What hanu do I have? Do we have enough in the blias? What hanu? I don't understand. What hanu do you have from the blias? And when you have a car, 1 second. When you have a pot, a chomazig pot. and you cook it. You have a noah from. The problem is you have a noah from chumatz. You don't have no from chumatz. You don't need the blias. The problem is you have a blia from chumatz. The essa chumatz. Nicht kabali mutze. A blia na top nicht kabali mutze stamazo. Even ben yoim. A kaile was in ben yoim. You used it 15 minutes before Saus Malachilo it hot. And 24 hours later it's ben yoim. You can say als bar yubali mutze. So I used to versparen because you skimmer to essen. About the blias, but the job bar yubu has to be yeah, my motion has to be exercised. Okay. This is when it comes to sinks. If you have a metal sink, so that's you can cash it. A metal sink you can cash it. How do you cash a metal sink? As we mentioned before, you have a stone, you pour the water, you go through all the sink all the way, and there's a nice video from the OK who shows you how to cash it from Rabbi Hanoko, shows you exactly how to go with the stone. Machaya. It's a little bit complicated because, but so there's another option which you could basically, before covering, the one I have a metal, I want to use it for myself. Then you close the insert, you fill it up with hot water, you boil up a stone, and once it's all the way, you throw in also a metal. That's the vidder is gekashet. It's a clearish. So that's when you have a kior, a sink which is metal. You can cash it. But you have to be very careful. First of all, you have to clean it well, and you have to make sure the water should go all over.
Down the drain.
Down the drain, always. In any case, you'll always have to put in bleach or Mr. Plumber, all these things. I saw from my Agharidis in their book, they're right, you should have it, you should put in a lot, and it should stay. You shouldn't rinse it with water. You should leave it for, I think it's 12 hours, overnight with this heavy Mr. Plumber. You know what Mr. Plumber? Very... drain opener, whatever. Drano, like Drano or Mr. Plumber.
No pipes left.
What? No, there are some which is made for that. You put it in and you leave it. Why? Because we are afraid you cash it all fine and void, but maybe inside there is ba'an. Once you pour in these things, it eats off. The roast to the pipes, it eats up also the chumash. That will happen for a sinkerator also, because sinkerator everything is cold, so nicht kann heiß. You poigem it, but ich will nicht poigem. Ich will dissolve the ba'an. Poigem is genick. Poigem you do anything with poigem. I want it to dissolve the ba'an. I don't want we should have a ba'an. What? What?
You're even an instrument over the pipes.
Nogmaals, het is begibber. I'm saying begibber, yeah. If it is, what?
24 hours like a regular clean.
What, the sink? Yes. Yeah, 24 hours. Everything which for kasha, you have to wait 24 hours. Yeah. Also, there's counters. Everything.
So run the garbage disposal also? I mean, in other words, like if we have a garbage disposal in the sink.
This is what he asks.
Yeah, you run it, or you just put the.
I don't use it, Pesach, but let's say if you put.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have. Yeah.
Again, you pour in one of these drain cleaners. Yeah, and then that's cleaned. Dissolves everything. That's only if it's a sink which is metal. If it's a sink which is ceramic, which a lot of people still have ceramic sinks, now we'll go over a lot bit to metal, but it used to be till not long ago ceramic sinks. Over there you cannot cash it. That's the b'chal geder from klecheres. So some people will say you should still cash it with the stone and put in an insert. Okay, if a person can do it, this plastic insert, which is made very good today's day, that it shouldn't be connected the two the drains, so therefore in such a case, still cash it a kol tzurus lo yituva, and then put in such a thing.
What does it mean that it's not connected to the drain? What is that?
No, it's not the right. It's
in a different place?
It's the hole is a little bit it's a little bit different because we want some okay. It's a matzir, the imperfection. It's probably the rabbunim.
If you cash it with a stainless steel sink, you don't need an insert.
But it's beikar. No, you don't need. If you cash it with a stone, beikar adinos is you don't have to cover it even. No. As you do mention, was an afe beken will put in an insert. Yeah, Pesach. Chibre de Pesach.
If I didn't cash on my drain, but I have a stainless steel sink, I should get an insert.
If your own what? Yeah, you should.
If I didn't
cash the drain well dort can't. Yeah, but this is auch nicht geht.
Better to cash on the drain.
Better cash it and put in those. Put in Dr. Bleach or whatever, Dr. Mr. Plumber, whatever, Drano. Okay. No, whatever is not dangerous, you could still.
Use vinegar and baking
Okay, next is a zoe. But I think we still have in the sink. We still have the drain. The drain you should change it to a new drain for $3.99. You'll have a new drain. The faucet is a zoe. There's the first thing where you have the zayir. What is it called? The strainer and the aerator. Then no point. Again, $2.99. You have a new this. But when it comes to the no, just the end. Yeah, this guy always to take off. Not because I schmitz. Not because what?
The new ones you don't pull out.
Oh, you know you can. So the easiest thing in such a case you ever pull it is a mile good. You pull it out and you dip it in a hot water, a pot of hot water. The kasha says maybe alwaish mamish. Since you can schlep it out, it's very easy. Just alwaish and you kasher it. The af a piket. Af a zoifel. Weil the chashash is you fell a piece of noodle on the dos, so it's also no place. It's almost betzerifa. Put in on aloish, but when it comes, we cannot schlep it out. It's a metal. Then over there, you have to use a hot water and with a stone. And in andere zoeken the Chayde Shrap, you should let the hot water from the pipe come out. It should be hot inside, and then pour it off. You have inside hot and outside hot. If you have it just pouring it out with the stone, it's outside is hot. Now, when you have it, it's a ganze kasha. And this is how usually they used to do it. You let it run hot water, and you pour the hot water, and it sounds complicated. It's not complicated. It's not complicated to kasha a sink. I'm telling you have to do it thoroughly, and you have to be, after a good supper, and a chashtitel drimmel. But once you do it, it's not so complicated. That's why I recommend looking. There is a nice video from about 50 minutes, from I think 15-20 minutes. 15-20 minutes. It shows Hanukkah, yeah. I saw it because he sent it to once to me. I don't know, I have it still. But I assume the people who know how to find these things will find it. And it's very nice to see. And he has this regular Chinese which you plug in the boils, it's a geschmack. Look at it if you need it. Again, once you have the Ner Mitzvah set, I used to kasher before that things. It was much easy. And even though I have a Pesach kitchen, I still kasher things. Nor as minig of assigning of kasher. The children should know there's such a thing as we have kasher for Pesach. So again, that's this thing. And the strainer just change. Buy a new one.
If you can't find it, get aerator. If you have whatever.
Then clean it and put it in hot water. Without water.
Put a shmata on it.
Yeah, this is always during Pesach you have a shmata.
That's just in case.
That's just in case. That's a Wasser, a mashi, chumma. It's a chimre de Pesach. Again, chimre de Pesach. The B'Shem Tov HaKudosh used to prepare water for all Pesach. Now, by uns wasn't a minig. Chabad wasn't that minig. Steht to the klur. But the B'Shem Tov, and a lot of Chassidim do that. They have water. Or today's is much easier. You buy a Poland spring. You use a bottle of water,
We say you put shmata on top of the faucet?
On top of the faucet, yeah.
Why?
Because if there is in the water a brek lechumas, you don't want, and it might go through it should go through the shmata drains it through. It's a chimra.
It's a help. They have the water with the mashal.
No, but it strains. This is our zayir. It doesn't let it through. It blocks it. It doesn't let it through this. Fish can blia, it's a ba'en. So it blocks it. Okay. Next. How to kasher a gas range. Okay, in a gas range we have three things. We have the burners. Yeah. What's the burners? That's the piece of where the gas comes out, where the fire comes out. You clean it well, and you make liben kal. Put on the fire for half an hour. That should be fine. Not. Then you have the grates. The grates is where the pot is, the black, whatever. That's the grates. The Alter Rebbe is Zayir Machmar of the grates. The Mishnah Berurah is Michael of the grates. He says it falls on the chometz. What do you mean? It gets burned out. The Alter Rebbe halts the what?
It's sitting on fire.
It's sitting on fire. The Mishnah Alter Rebbe Chtiva is Alter Rebbe Zayir Chumar of Chtiva again. We cannot take what? Always. I feel about trifles. What?
Why are the burners more mingled than the grates?
The burners, the burners is where the gas comes out. If something, rented with the pot goes on it doesn't go on that in the chiga.
So by the Alter Rebbe, it's not good to use a milk pot on a fleshik burner.
That's right. Exactly.
If you cover with silver foil, it's not.
Oh, okay, so we're covering something else. I'm talking to use it k'voishi, but you could still use it. You could still kasher it. Great. No, again. So that's number 2. The great. Let me finish. It's getting late. But I just want to get over where we up to. Then the second is the great. Is the way the pot in the Alter Rebbe Zayah Machmer of them. And the third thing is they have the stovetop. You have the we get the stovetops. Yeah. So what do we do with the grades? The grades with the Alter Rebbe is Zayah Chumar. Has to be Libn Gumar. It's not easy to make Libn Gumar. You can do it. So if a person, and I know a lot of people, when even they don't have a Pesach kitchen, the grades they have Pesach. They have a Pesach. They have an oven, a Pesach. They have some things which is Pesach. The grades at least should be made. If you can buy a set, that's the best thing. If you don't have a set, there's 2 options. One option is if you have a Shabbos blech, you put on the Shabbos blech on the fire. You put on the fires, and you let it burn half an hour. The 4 fires on the blech, because the blech holds the fire down and it burns it out. That should be good. If you have a self-cleaning oven and you're going to make a cycle, then put it in the self-cleaning oven and you're good to go. But like Rabbi says, if you cover it basically properly, basically it's zogit. If you cover it, you have no problem. But that's not practical because it will have holes. It's not practical. Practical is if a person has a blech, because some people today they don't have blechs, still have hot place. If you have a blech, that's the easiest way. Has to be the what? You don't have to go to pro church. You have the fire, half an hour. When it's all 4 hours, you're clean. By the way, the blech itself, if you want to kasher the blech, that's also the day. You open up the fires and you put the blech on top, but you have to put the blech on the opposite side. Because the Alter Rebbe klal, which is a machloik, because the Alter Rebbe is machmer of them, that if always you have to kasher, a thing is where the fire has to be where the food is. That means you have a pot, the fire is underneath, and the food is inside. What is the most important thing to make liban? Not underneath, on top, inside. So therefore, if you have an oven, a regular oven, which you don't have elements inside in the oven, you have a problem to kasher it because you have the fire in the bottom, then you have a floor, and basically the chumatz was on top of the floor, and the fire is in the bottom. It's not on the same side. Nachmol, the fire burns over here. This is the floor of the oven. Over here you put in a challah. So the blias go in air, and when you burn it out, you burn it out this side. It gets very hot. We don't get a minute. It's getting very hot, but it's not the same. There are some which say in klicheres they agree with the Alter Rebbe. In matches now, they want to say matches. And the Alter Rebbe is nish mashmazoi. So therefore, where is the problem? Where does the bleed the black? I had the shala this week from somewhere. You have to take. You could kasher it. That was shala b'zebchulov, but you kasher it. You flip it on the side and you burn it out. We have to be on the same side where it is. So
between basar b'chalov and treifus and pesach.
The Alter Rebbe is mechalik? No. The Alter Rebbe is mechalik in Hilchos Pesach legaba buser lechulav. Dort the whole Alter Rebbe akila, which is a longest killer. It's a long after the hemshich the geshirim and the buser lechulav. Which interesting. I spoke with I think Rav Heller. A couple of Rabban Nash. They don't accept this heter. I don't know why. It's never all the Alter Rebbe's chimlas. Why, when he has a good killer, why shouldn't we allow? But Azoy is Rabban Nash line do not want. Tufni in all of this a long hagur. You know, boys of Chulav. I spoke once with Chaim Shapiro. He's the Moore, the Isveheter. Hat ihm gesagt, dass I don't know, auch der Rabban Nash. Aber mir noch gesagt, ich verstehe nicht, was nicht. Ich habe gesagt, es ist nicht geil, ja.
Even Chomer, if you're doing the grades or the bless, it doesn't have to be cleaned, right? You just
the Leben Gomer has to be, you take off the end because I don't know, but the Ikra din Leben takes it off itself, yeah. If you put it in a first in the oven, it burns everything.
The glass door from the oven.
Oh, the glass door from the oven is on the The glass, you should cover the glass.
How do you cover glass? Tape?
What?
How do you cover glass?
silver foil you could kvetch it around and it should stick.
With tape or not tape?
I don't know. Tape is practical. It's in a hot oven. I don't. What?
Tuck it in.
You tuck it in some way. You get chanites. Now there are some which want to say, by the way, that you could rely on. It gets also in libben. It's like you have a zwecksveiken. Suffolk, the kasha glass. And Suffolk, it could be like cheres, which has chazurlik kivshoinus. But Lamasa, the Achronis Manayni say that you should what? Yeah. All the Allah Machman glassly when it comes to Pesach. So therefore, try to cover it because what? The glass from inside. Yeah. Okay.
I don't have self-cleaning in the oven.
You're going to get to it in a minute. We'll get to the oven. Let's first go on. Okay. So now they have the third thing is you have a countertop. Now you used to be able to take off the whole countertop on top. The stovetop. Stovetop you could just click it, take it out, put it outside, and kasher it with a stone. Today's day you cannot do that. So therefore, in order to kasher it properly, you have to again. And you have to kasher with a stone and with water. But that I don't know how practical it is. You might kill that. So therefore, I would say you should cover it. This is you cover it.
Couldn't you do the same thing with the blech on top?
What the blech?
But in other words, they put the blech on and put up.
No, because that in the middle from the two fires not necessarily will become real hot. Not necessarily.
Why can they do a gala with the stone?
You could. You could do it, but I don't know practical if it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you what? Yeah, if you do it well. Yeah, but again, I don't know. You're going to kill your. You're going to kill your stovetop.
Oh, so cover it.
Cover it. Always you won't cover a thing. You cover it twice. Twice. Cover it twice. When it comes to stovetops, which is electric, you have to clean it well and put it on for 2 hours. Yeah, hot, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then unplug it and pour on it hot water. And this huh?
So you like kasha
electric, yeah. When it comes to stovetop, no, I'm talking about the electric. The whole the coil. It's like in Canada, not glass one. I'm not talking as glass one. I'm talking the metal ones in Canada.
So each one has their own grates.
Yes. Yeah. You put it on and you pour it on hot water afterwards. But you unplug it over here. Over here, for sure, it's a schooner. There's no question about it. When it comes to stovetops, which is glass, is again like you shouldn't kasher it. As we hold that glass, you don't kasher. If a person is a matzav who says and he doesn't have it, it's stuck, he doesn't have whatever he has. So there, such as says, put it on for 2 hours, it become hot, and then if you can have, I don't know if it's covered as practically matzis. It might be a fire. If you have a blech, buy a blech and then a cover. You can only use it with a cover. You can't use it without. Even with leaving it out for an hour and a half, 2 hours, it will still not, because again it's glass. Glass can be normal cash. So therefore you still, what? On that, it's glass. It's gonna what? No, not for it will break. Induction stoves cannot be kashed. You cannot use it. So again, if anybody has induction oven, it's not impossible to kash it. Do what? No, fine. But after it gets hot when the pot is over there.
And then the food
fine.
spills on it.
Yeah, food spills on it. What do you do? I saw the CRC Chicago writes that you shouldn't use it. You shouldn't use induction oven milchiks and fleischiks. You should one is milchiks, only milchiks, only fleischiks. Because induction ovens.
What about the dishwashers?
We're gonna get. Let me farting. You know, we're so bald farting, but time is essay. But don't give me jeder. Ich habe das ungeschrieben Note alle Schalen, was Menschen fragen. So the kaftoir, what is it called? The knobs you should take off and clean well, because that could be really chummas. Your wife in the middle of baking, you macht clean it. Just take it out. If you could change it, it's fine. If not, just cover it over and out. But if you do it with easy or whatever, you clean it well. You don't need to cover it. But again, if you want to cover it, cover it. Cover it. The problem, it falls off. Pesach, silver foil. It's like you're putting on Shabbat. Sometimes you put on the silver foil, and because you want to make grifik tima, and it falls off. Okay, so let's go now to stoves. Let me stop, please. I just want to let me give me the last 5 minutes. I'll keep Marv. Ovens. Ovens is only if it is self-cleaning oven, you could kasher for Pesach. If it's not, by the way, I would just want to say there are rabbanim which do not allow self-cleaning ovens to be kasher for Pesach. Again, as kumas fin the rabbanim v'em icha genehm shimash, af even pup ruf zich an vuchot, in order that a self-cleaning oven could be kasher. It's 909. It goes up to 880 degrees. So it's more than from 850 and up is living gummer. So therefore, it's not an issue. But you have to make sure you make a full cycle. But there's some short cycle, a full cycle, which is about 3.5, 4 hours. Then it is okay. But you have to make sure it's a self-cleaning oven, a regular. Because I heard lately there are some self-cleaning ovens which have what?
Steam or what?
Which is steam, water, less less cycle. It doesn't go that high. That's not enough. That's not good enough.
Sometimes there's in the corners, and it doesn't really get everything though.
It burns out everything. It becomes ashes.
I did it once, and then I saw like when I opened the thing, it was still dirt. It was still something.
Ash. Yeah, ashes.
In that thing underneath.
No, or
in the oven itself. In the oven itself, once you burn it, it is ash. Now again, it's practical. It's good to after it's cooled off, clean it off. The stomachs on. But it's ash. When it comes to other ovens, which is not a self-cleaning oven, you cannot kasher for Pesach. You cannot kasher for Pesach because why? We need libin gummer. It's only libin kal. You could go the maximum, I think, 500, 550. That's libin kal. So if a person needs to have an oven, I don't know over here, it's not practical because you don't sell it, but in the grocery communities, you put it on the highest level for 2 hours, and even then you have to only use it with an insert. Again, I don't know, over here I never saw an insert, but in Muncie and Williamsburg you can buy inserts, which is you put it in the oven, and this is how you use it. Again, the balabostas do not like it. It doesn't bake as fine as without that, but again, that's the issue. You cannot, or you have a Pesach stove, or
what do you mean inserts? Like a box?
It's like a box, yeah.
No.
A metal box goes into the oven. It's made special for ovens. That's which is what? Self-cleaning or not? Self-cleaning ovens is once it goes through the cycle, it should be fine.
You put the racks in with the self.
You leave the racks in with this. Then buy. People told me that. I says you should have them separate racks for Pesach.
What about?
Let me just finish. We're gonna get afterwards. Okay. The second thing which I want to do is that a microwave cannot be kasher for Pesach. It cannot be. Sometimes you need to use a microwave, which is basically setoski for or whatever. It cannot be kasher. The only way what you do it is put it in a glass of water, put it on. It should evaporate. Some kind of hagula, but we're not using it. Only whenever you're going to use this for a food, you have to twice double wrap it, and then you could use it. That means, ich will es kasher, so to speak, ob sie kein werden kasher, but also also bei David. Microwave is not a kasher, and the same will go to a dishwasher. Dishwashers is not kasher for Pesach.
During the year, yeah.
This is an extra, all the time for that. Very important halacha. I want to say, I couldn't stress that more. The wichtigste Sache from the whole kitchen is to cover the hood. The wichtigste Sache, the most important thing, cover the hood, double one. Clean it and double. Because people kasher everything alles fine of oil, and over there is dirty, and you cook, and in the hot heat will come down and fall into your pot. Chumatz gummer, even trifles. When you go, it's very important. You have to cover it. It has to be covered. It cannot go otherwise. You cannot cash it. You can't cash it with silver foil.
You can't kasher. You can take it out. You can kasher and
the hood.
The
whole hood is full of grease. I was once somewhere in a house. I said it, I think last year too. I said the story which we had. We came to a house. And we wanted to kasher the stovetop. We put on all the what I said. We put on the fires, and we keep on seeing there's oil on the floor. We cleaned it. We didn't realize. Afterwards, we realized that the heat which we kashed over there, automatically, all the fat, treifel chazer fat was on top, got dissolved and dripping down. And so the first thing is you have to cover it very, very, very well. Just another, the two dishwasher we said, a platter of Shabbos. A person has a platter of Shabbos, as I mentioned before, how you do it. You kasher it with all the fires on top. That's when you have a blech. If you have a platter of a Shabbos, you open it, you know, the plug in, the hot plate, you clean it, you plug it in, it should work an hour, and even afterwards then, you have to cover it. Because again, Kess is nicht kasher, the chumetz was on top, heat is the bottom, so nicht, as nicht gehad fire on the ice. Even after burning it out, cover it well. The best thing would be with 2 covers, and then this is how you could use it. Okay, we'll stop over here. One final thing, which is you also have to kasher your braces or you have fillings. If every but don't make lieben gummer. But you should kasher it. Even this year, Pesach Shabbos in the morning after eating, drink hot tea or drink hot water. When you have fake teeth, how many if you can kasher on Shabbos, but in the Pupuruv halt me tun nicht kasher, you do it before Shabbos. But the teeth, since it's no mechzik, you want to drink hot water, it's not a problem. You should, before Sov's Ma'achila, rinse with hot water as much as you can. Don't burn yourself. And even then, all Pesach don't eat hot food which is Yatzolder's boy. What? Even Pesach don't eat Yatzolder's boy. Was ist echt nicht kein richtiger Gula. What? This is kein problem. Nor heat.
That's why the Rebbe didn't go to the dentist.